ever get that feeling?
Mm.
You know, that wealth has like its own gravity. It's like once someone hits a certain level, their money, well, it just seems to attract more money.
Yeah.
We're kind of diving into that idea today.
Okay.
Why hitting, say, like that $100,000 mark?
That's a big one.
Yeah, it can feel like a financial launch pad, you know?
It really can.
So we're using a piece called Why Does Your Net Worth Explode at $100 K as like a jumping off point. But before we get into like the real nitty gritty, what's your take on this whole thing?
Okay. So.
Have you noticed this phenomenon at all
Yeah.
in your own life?
Yeah.
Or like with people you know?
Definitely.
Okay.
But what's interesting to me is it's often attributed to things like,
Yeah.
those secret investments for the rich.
Oh, yeah. Those like the secret sauce.
Right, exactly.
Secret sauce.
When the reality is often much, much more fundamental, you know?
Okay. I like where this is going.
Yeah.
So it's not just like you suddenly unlock these exclusive investment options once you're wealthier.
Exactly. The source actually breaks down a couple of concepts
Okay.
that I think really highlight this. So first you have like the scale of your capital.
Okay.
And then like everyone's favorite
Right.
compound interest.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
All right. Scale first.
Okay.
I remember the article had this example, right?
Yeah.
Of 3 people all getting
Okay.
a 10% return
Uh-huh.
on their investments, but
Right.
with like wildly different starting amounts.
Okay.
Was that kind of what it was getting at?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This idea of scale.
So you see, while a 10% gain is like the same percentage-wise,
Yeah.
the actual dollar amount that you earn changes
Right.
drastically based on how much you're starting with.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I see.
So someone investing will say $1,000
Okay.
at a 10% return
Uh-huh.
makes $100, which isn't bad.
Right.
Not bad.
But someone investing $10,000
Okay.
with that same return
Yeah.
earns $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Right. And at $100,000,
Right.
they're looking at a $10,000 gain.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So the more you put in,
Yeah.
the more those percentage gains
Exactly.
translate into real spendable money, right?
Right.
It's not about finding some magical like 20% return.
Exactly.
It's a lot of it is just having more
So, fuel for the fire.
fuel for the fire, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
More wood on the fire, I guess.
Yeah.
However you want to phrase it.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like momentum, you know?
Yeah.
The larger your base,
Right.
the more each percentage point
Uh-huh.
of growth pushes you forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But then we add in compound interest
Okay.
on top of that.
Which is supposedly
What made even Einstein think twice?
right. Exactly.
This whole idea of earning interest on your interest,
Right.
it almost feels like cheating the system.
It's the closest thing to
Right.
financial magic, I think, that we've got.
It really is. It really is.
And the article's example, it really hits home, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine you're consistently saving, let's say, $1,000 a month
Right.
and getting like a decent 8% return, you know?
Uh-huh.
It'll take some time,
Right.
but eventually you'll hit that $100,000 milestone.
Okay.
Right.
That's already a pretty big achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of people, that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
But what happens next
Right.
is where things get like really interesting.
That's where the snowball starts rolling faster.
Okay, tell me more.
So to reach 200,000,
Okay.
it takes considerably less time.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 4 years
Mhm.
instead of that initial like 7,
Yeah.
right?
Wow. Okay.
And then that next jump to 300,000,
Okay.
a mere 3 years.
Wow. It keeps accelerating.
Right.
It's like it's on a rocket or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though the percentage gains stay the same,
Yeah.
the time it takes to hit those milestones
Right.
shrinks dramatically.
It's got to be encouraging, right?
It is.
For anyone who's like
Yeah,
feels like they're just starting out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It highlights why having that long-term mindset
Okay.
is so crucial when it comes to investing.
Right. That makes sense.
But before we dive deeper into that,
Why
I'm
not?
curious,
Yeah.
what stood out to you
Okay.
from this like first part of the article?
Honestly,
Yeah.
the way it reframed my thinking
Okay.
about hitting that $100,000 mark,
Right.
it's not just like a nice round number.
No.
It's where these two forces, right,
Yeah.
scale and compound interest,
Right.
really start to work in your favor, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like you've hit escape velocity.
Yeah.
And you've broken free from, like, the initial grind.
That's a great analogy. It's like reaching a tipping point
Right.
where your financial growth
Right.
starts to accelerate exponentially.
Yeah.
Almost like a chain reaction.
Now, I know our listeners are probably itching to know
Right.
how to actually reach this point.
Right.
And more importantly,
Yeah.
surpass it.
Exactly.
What are, like, some practical strategies
Right.
we can pull from the article?
Okay, so, well, the article really hammered home this point about starting early,
Wait.
which, you know, makes sense with compound interest in the picture.
Yeah.
The more time your money has to grow,
Yeah.
the more powerful those returns become.
Right.
Right.
I bet there's a counter argument, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, someone in their 20s might be thinking, what can I even invest right now?
Yeah.
I'm barely, like, getting by.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right.
That's a valid concern. And it leads us to what I think is, like, the most actionable advice in the whole piece.
Okay.
Even if you can't go back in time
Right.
and start investing, as a teenager, you can control how much you're putting in right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not all about waiting for, like, some
Right.
big windfall,
It's-
finding that, like, perfect investment.
Right.
It's more about,
It's about consistent action,
okay.
even with smaller amounts.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember that doubling your contributions example?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Someone putting away, we'll say, $200 a month
Okay.
for 30 years at a solid 10% return would end up with, like, around $400,000. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
But if they doubled those contributions
Right.
to 400, the final number almost doubles as well.
Hmm.
So closer to 800,000.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. That's pretty hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Even small increases. It can make a huge difference
Exactly.
over the long haul.
Long haul, exactly.
But I'm also thinking about those listeners that are, like,
Yeah.
further along in their careers, maybe already hitting that $100,000 mark.
Okay.
Does this still apply to them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is where we go beyond just, like, basic saving and start thinking about, like, investing strategies.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into index funds?
I've heard the term,
Okay.
but honestly, they still feel kind of intimidating.
Okay. Well, they can be a great option for,
Okay.
building long-term wealth.
Okay.
Essentially, you're investing in a basket of stocks that track a specific market index, like
Right.
the S&P 500.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So instead of trying to pick individual winning stocks,
Right.
which, let's be honest, seems impossible to get right consistently,
Yeah.
you're betting on the growth of the market,
The whole market
the whole market
as a whole.
as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not trying to beat the market.
Right.
You're just trying to ride the wave.
Ride the wave with it.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the beauty of these index funds is, like,
Yeah.
they're typically low cost
Okay.
and very diversified,
Okay.
which reduces risk.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff
Yeah.
I'd love to learn more about.
Right.
I bet our listeners are, like,
Yeah.
feeling the same way,
For sure.
just kind of soaking it all up.
Well, there's a ton of information out there.
Yeah.
The article we're discussing actually links to, like, a free masterclass on financial planning.
Oh, wow, that's great.
That might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Okay, cool.
And it makes me think about another point from the article that really resonated with me.
Okay.
It talked about, like, not getting caught up
Yeah.
in that extreme budgeting
Okay.
or depriving yourself
Uh-huh.
to save more.
Yeah.
Instead, it really emphasized the importance of
Earning more.
earning more,
Right.
as, like, the key strategy.
It's a much more empowering perspective, isn't it?
It is.
Instead of just focusing solely on
Right.
cutting expenses,
Yeah.
it encourages you to think about ways to, like, increase your income.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could mean, like, negotiating a raise,
Exactly.
starting a side hustle,
Yeah.
freelancing.
Right.
There's so many options these days,
There are, yeah.
to kind of bring in some extra income.
And by focusing on earning more,
Yeah.
you're not just, like, increasing your capacity to, like,
Right.
save and invest.
Right.
You're also developing, like, valuable skills.
Right.
And potentially even opening up, like,
Yeah.
new opportunities.
New opportunities. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a double win.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's recap for our listeners, like,
Yeah.
what we've covered so far.
Yeah. Great idea.
So we talked about the power of scale,
Okay.
how the more you invest, the faster your wealth can grow.
Right. The more fuel for the fire.
Right. We also dove into the magic of compound interest.
Yeah, Einstein's favorite.
Right.
That snowball effect. That's
It's
like
incredible.
incredible snowball effect.
Where your money earns interest on interest.
Right.
Creating that exponential growth over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I think we discussed the need to shift our focus, right?
Yeah.
From extreme budgeting
Right.
to finding ways to
To earn more.
to increase our income, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This not only boosts our saving and investing potential, but
Yeah.
also empowers us to
Right.
create more
Yeah.
fulfilling and abundant lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
It's about taking control of our financial destinies and creating a life we truly love.
Right.
Right.
And that brings us back to that idea that, money makes money.
Yeah.
It's not about some exclusive club
No.
or like a secret handshake.
Right.
It's about understanding these fundamental principles
Yeah.
that are available to everyone.
Right.
You know?
Everyone, exactly.
You gotta learn them and apply them.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
It's about building a solid foundation
Okay.
for financial freedom,
So?
one step at a time.
Right.
Speaking of steps,
Okay.
the article used a really great analogy to
Mhm.
illustrate this whole journey. Remember the mountain climbing metaphor?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it talked about how
Yeah.
when you're starting out,
Yeah.
that $100,000 goal
Yeah.
can feel like a
Like
daunting and distant peak.
like Everest or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But every step you take,
Yeah.
no matter how small,
Right.
brings you closer to that summit.
Closer and closer, right?
And as you climb higher, the view gets better and better.
Oh, I like that.
You start to see
Yeah.
new possibilities, new opportunities,
Yeah.
that you never even knew existed.
It's like that sense of accomplishment, right, that you get from
Yeah.
reaching any goal.
Right.
But it's magnified
Yeah.
because it's tied to something as
Yeah.
impactful.
As your financial well-being.
Your financial well-being.
Right. It's not just about the money itself. It's
Yeah.
about the freedom
Right.
and the choices
Choices.
that come with that,
Okay.
for financial security.
So being able to pursue your passions.
Exactly.
Travel the world.
Travel the world.
Spend more time with
Yeah.
loved
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Or even just having
Yeah.
that peace of mind, knowing that you're prepared for
exactly.
unexpected expenses or
God.
economic downturn.
Huge part of it too. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's something that
Yeah.
I think gets overlooked a lot in
Yeah.
a lot of these conversations we have about wealth.
Right?
It's not just about accumulating assets. It's about building
Yeah.
resilience.
Okay. Security for yourself and your family. Okay.
Right.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway,
Right.
you want our listeners to walk away with?
I'd say it's this. Don't get discouraged by that initial climb.
Okay.
That $100,000 goal
Right.
might seem daunting at
Yeah.
first, but remember,
Right.
every step you take
Right.
brings you closer.
Closer and closer.
Right.
And those steps can take many forms. It's not just about
Yeah.
saving every penny.
Right. It's about
It's about,
increasing your earning potential,
increasing your earning potential.
making smart investments,
Okay.
and most importantly, I think
Adopting that long-term mindset.
that long-term mindset. Right. Okay.
You got it.
Right.
Financial success, it's not about
Yeah.
luck or privilege. It's about,
Right.
understanding these core principles
Yeah.
and applying them consistently
Consistently
over
time.
Over time.
Right.
Makes sense.
It's a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
Right. Right. Okay. Well said. Well said.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Hopefully given our listeners
Yeah.
some actionable insights.
Some actionable insights and
Yeah.
a renewed sense of
Motivation.
motivation. Yeah. Ready to get out there
Absolutely.
and make it happen.
And remember, that
Yeah.
journey to financial freedom,
Uh-huh.
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a good one.
Pace yourself.
Yeah.
Celebrate those wins along the way.
Right.
And never stop,
Yeah.
learning and growing.
That's a fantastic note to end on.
Until next time,
Until next time,
keep exploring.
keep exploring.
Keep investing in yourself.
Investing in
And
yourself.
keep climbing towards those goals.
And keep climbing.
You got it.
Thanks so much for joining us
It's been a pleasure.
on this deep dive into
My pleasure.
this fascinating world of money
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
how to make it work for you.
You got it.
Don't forget to check out the show notes
Yeah.
for links to the article and all those great resources we mentioned.
Right.
Until next time,
Until next time.
keep diving deeper.